Well, a very hearty good evening to you. I'm so looking forward to today's concert. Really, this is for me about the only Pops concert that I do during the year. And so it's the first chance I have to wear my white jacket and my fuzzy purple tie, which is probably a little hard to see from where you are. And it's the chance to really explore all sorts of different music that we don't get to do most of the rest of the year. And we really got an incredible blend of music for you tonight, and we're starting with the patriotism. So the next piece we're going to play for you, this is very entertaining, by the way. Okay. I guess if I get distracted, you can get distracted. It's all good. We're going to play for you now. I call this section of the music our Salute to Salutes. So you just heard what's it called, the first one? American Salute. Okay. And the next one we're going to do for you is Armed Forces Salute. And this is a chance to weave a little musical tale through the 5 services and the hymns of these services. And so if you've served in any of these branches, when we play your song, we encourage you to stand up and accept our applause. So here's Armed Forces Salute. thanks to all of you who served. And I also should mention, you know, we live in Arlington. Many of the musicians in this orchestra have, or still are, members of active duty units right now. So I'd like to ask all those who are serving or have served in the military in the orchestra, please, to stand for applause. One of the things that makes the Philharmonic special is the community that we live in here. So close to the nation's capital, all these amazing service bands, freelancers, musicians from all over the place, around the world, diplomats, institutions of higher learning that all come together to make this entire region strong, but also that kind of hometown feel that we get here in Arlington. We're going to play for you now a bit of a classical pop set. And the first piece we're going to play for you is something called the Roman Festival. It's an overture by Berlioz. Berlioz was a very strange composer. His original instrument was guitar, which is not the normal composer's instrument. And actually, luckily, you could study that at the Paris Conservatory back in the day. You still can now. But it gave him a really odd sense of orchestration. And he tried things with the orchestra that were really, really difficult. The orchestras hated him for it. But then he got a job writing music reviews, and he wrote all these nasty things about the orchestra musicians, so it was kind of even later on. However, now that the standards of orchestra musicianship and the ability to actually rehearse music that they didn't used to do so much back in the day is higher, we are able to really dig into these pieces and enjoy them. His music is full of surprises, even bizarre occurrences, and you'll hear some of that in the music. But it's just high spirits, and for me, part of the definition of a pops concert is music. I'm telling you some things, but just ignore what I'm saying, okay? Because really, you don't need to know any of this stuff to enjoy the music. So here's the Roman Carnival Overture of Berlioz. So I picked a lot of fast music tonight, okay? Next piece we're going to play for you is Thunder and Lightning. This is a polka schnell, which just is a fast polka. But I'm saying that very meaningfully because sometimes I'm explaining things to the audience and sometimes I'm reminding the orchestra. This piece really could have been just called the cymbals and bass drum polka in a way because that kind of represents the... Wow, okay. I can only imagine. That represents the thunder and the lightning. So this is a percussion showpiece. And I actually think, in a way, that Strauss had a joke in mind because some of the entrances are somewhat bizarre, right? Unexpected thunderstorms, you might call them. this is really a fun piece to play. And it's, you know, a great representative of Strauss. We think of his music as pops for the ages in a sense, because he was the waltz king, but also the master of all the dance bands in Vienna during the height of the waltz craze. And really his family kind of had the corner on the market. If you couldn't get Johann Strauss Jr. to do it, you might get Joseph Strauss Jr. to do your thing. And so they kind of like were playing all the time and just creating just a magnificent set of wonderful and light music of all kinds. So here's the wonderful and always beloved Thunder and Lightning Polka Schnell. Okay, there we go. We're going to encore one of the pieces that we did on our concert this year that earlier, and we try to do that sort of like to reflect a little bit of what we played during the year too. This is also a light classic piece. It's by Offenbach. It's called La Belle Hélène. Offenbach was Parisian master of light opera, and he had a theater on the Champs-Élysées, and he would write these supposedly very serious themes and title them with, you know, dramatic Greek names, in this case, The Beautiful Helen, La Belle Hélène. But then he would sort of write in parodies of the political people in the town. Now, those political people had to go to that theater anyway because it was the place to be. So the irony was delicious, and he really milked that for all it was worth and became a very rich man in addition. This piece is great because it has kind of this very gentle waltz, but also this opening little fanfare-ish type of thing that keeps interrupting in unexpected places. And then at the end, as of course he's the most famous writer of the can-can of all time, right? And so in this case, he's got a very slightly different can-can. You will still recognize it. It's still danceable, let's put it that way. So here's La Belle Hélène by Jacques Offenbach. Cool, hot? How are we doing? All right, because it's really hot up here. The musicians are, they're giving me that look, but they're doing great. We're so proud in the Philharmonic to have an educational mission. And one of the things we do is we have a program called Crescendo. And Crescendo, of course, is about growth. And what we do is we create, and when I say we, what I really mean are the talented coaches and administrators of Crescendo. And these folks work with chamber music groups, quartets. They bring together quartets, and they work on some music with all of them together, but especially in their quartet groups. And these groups are able to go out in the community and perform. And once a year, we have a chance to bring these musicians, these young musicians, together into the Philharmonic to play with us. So I'd like to ask all the members of Crescendo who are playing with us tonight to stand for some recognition. I also have the good luck to work with Encore Learning in Arlington and present some classes, some music education classes. So if you're out there and you've taken any of my music education classes, raise your hand and I'm going to pretend that I can see you. Wonderful. And speaking of young musicians and amazing talents, we have a young soloist that I heard play recently, and I thought he would be perfect for this evening's concert. He was a prize winner in the Northern Virginia Music Teachers Association, a competition that they hold. And he is just an extraordinary young violinist, but he also has a heart of gold, as musicians in the orchestra can attest, meeting him during our rehearsals, preparing for the concert. Before I bring him out on stage, he's going to play for you a piece by Pablo Sarasate. Sarasate was one of the first violinists that really brought what we consider a great treasure in musical tradition now, which is sometimes called gypsy violin style. It's not really any kind of particular folk tradition. It's more like an amalgamation of the best instincts of showmanship of violin playing. And you will certainly, I think, join with me to welcome our soloist. You'll agree that Jeremy Foster really also represents the best soloistic, musical, and showmanship of the violin. So please help me welcome Jeremy to the stage. It's hard to play that in air conditioning. We're going to play for you now a little tango set. Two tangos. The first is written actually by the American composer Leroy Anderson. Leroy Anderson is really the king of American popular orchestra music. And this is one of his most famous pieces. The most famous ever probably was called The Typewriter, or it might have been Bugler's Holiday or Trumpeter's Lullaby, or other sorts of ironically named compositions. But the one we're going to play for you now is called Blue Tango. And the reason it's blue tango is because it has this that kind of blue thing going on, but then it also has the really strict and striking tango rhythm underneath it. So it's just a great tune, and we're going to follow that with a much more sort of sexy version. I know this is a family show, but did I say that? But this is just a beautiful and perfect representation of the composer Astor Piazzolla, who is the Argentinian master of the tango. It's called Oblivion, and it's just such a perfect showcase for his incredible sense of melody and harmony and color in the music. So first Blue Tango, and then Oblivion.
Lord.